A wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today we're going to talk about Coach Prime and that royal butt whooping that they took the other day from Stanford. Well, I'm not going to say royal butt whooping, but I mean, you blow a 29-point lead. That's a problem. And we're going to talk about whether or not this may impact Coach Prime's economic value long term. Whether it makes him look like a real coach or a fly-by-night. Also, I'm going to talk about a black soccer player that you may or may not heard of who just signed a contract or who's about to sign a contract to make over $1 billion in 1 year. Yeah, that's $1 billion per year. That's kind of crazy. So give me a yes in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me and get comfortable. Buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Before I begin the conversation today, I'd like to ask you all, can you hear me? Give me a yes if you can hear me okay. Let me know if I'm coming through all right. I want to make sure my audio is good, so just give me a quick yes in the chat. Let me know that we're good. And also, just so you know, this is a platform for intelligent Black people. It doesn't mean you have to be educated. It doesn't mean you have to even be that smart. It just means you have to not want to be ignorant. I'm not a big fan of wanting to be ignorant as a Black man. I want to be intelligent. And so if you are in that category, then this is the place for you. But if your goal is to be as ignorant as possible and you want to stay that way, there's plenty of channels that can help you do that. This ain't one of them, folks. You hang out with me, you're going to be smarter and ain't nothing you can do about it. So anyway, I want to say hi to everybody. What's up, everybody? Shout out the city you're from, by the way. I want to say really quick, let's see here. You a fallback brother? What is a fallback brother? I don't know what a fallback brother means. Christopher Edwards, what's up? W. Luckett, Michael Edward, what's happening to you? It's Chris Sandridge, Tony A. Green, Patricia Ash, Golden Glove. Hey, wait, you repeated the same comment, Golden Glove. Stop repeating yourself on this platform. If you say it, you can say it one time, man. You ain't got to recreate it. Go hang out with your woman. Get some one of y'all ladies. Go give this man some cooch so he'll calm down and quit trolling another dude. You know that's awfully weird when you're trolling another man. Anyway, I want to say what's up to everybody. And also, let me just say this, man. Coach Prime, how many of y'all, give me a yes or no if you saw Coach Prime and what happened yesterday, that massive tragedy on the football field that took place yesterday between Colorado and Stanford University. Did anybody see that? Did anybody see Coach Prime and Colorado? They kind of got it. Let's start right here, please, because sometimes the internet gets stuff mixed up. They think I'll be hating on people, right? And I got to make it clear. Deion's one of my favorite players. Y'all see that jersey back there? How many of y'all see that? Can y'all see that jersey on my wall behind me? That is an autographed Deion Sanders jersey. For many years, I have been a Cowboys fan, and I have been a Coach Prime fan. That is one of my favorite athletes on the planet. So before we start saying you be hating, because I hate that. That's come on, man. Seriously, if you're 40 years old, stop. Dude, you be hating, dog. You be hating. You ain't a teenager, man. Start learning to use all your syllables, brother. Seriously, like this one guy repeating himself. He said, you a fallback, brother. I don't even know what that means. Like, elaborate, man. Anyway, so Coach Prime's one of my favorite players, but let me tell you what happened. I got to be honest. Coach Prime got spanked. And even he will admit that he got spanked the other day, and he will admit that that loss to Stanford was up there with the loss to Oregon. Did anybody see give me a yes if you saw that sheer domination that Oregon put on Colorado. Give me a yes if you saw what happened with Stanford. So here's what happened, just in case you don't know. And I'm going to explain to you why a finance professor, who also happens to be a Black man and a football fan, wants to talk about what happened with Coach Prime in Colorado. So here's the story. In case you don't know, I'm gonna catch you guys up and hit the thumbs up. By the way, please hit that thumbs up button, notification bell, and subscribe. Really important for independent Black-owned media. We have over about 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube now. By the way, because we have multiple channels, over several channels with several 100,000 subscribers. So we're getting it done. We're getting it done on YouTube. We kind of up there. But anyway, but we could always use your help. And also, this podcast is on Spotify and Apple. So just look for my name and you can find it. So here's what happened. So Coach Prime in Colorado played Oregon. Oregon got hyped. They beat the crap out of them. There was no ambiguity. There is no there is no vagueness about the ass whooping. Like, they just got pummeled. They just destroyed. It was like a NFL team playing against a high school team. Not even a good high school team, like the team that's in last place. So that was pretty tough. And then there was the Stanford game. In the Stanford game, give me a guess if you happen to see some of this. Stanford, they were up by 29 points. They were winning 29-0. So they were beating Stanford the way Oregon was beating them, right? So this was good. I mean, sure, Stanford's not that great. Stanford was 1-4 going in this game. This is what made it worse. Stanford is not a good team. This is not a good team. And anybody who really follows football kind of thought about this kind of thing back when they played against who was that team? Am I pausing, Lewis? Am I coming through okay? Lewis says I'm constantly pausing. Give me a yes if y'all are able to hear me okay. If let me switch my Wi-Fi real quick. If I disappear for a minute, don't go nowhere, because I'm gonna try to switch. Okay. Am I all right? Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I had to switch my Wi-Fi. In our house, we have different Wi-Fi. So there we go. Thank you very much, Lewis. See, people like Lewis, you keep me going, man. I cannot do this without you. And I want to just express my appreciation for Lewis Conyu. So thank you so much. Let's keep going here. All right. So the Stanford game, they were winning 29-0. And somehow they found a way to lose that game. That was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. Baby Daddy Insurance says the Stanford game was a Vegas game. FanDuel and DraftKings paid off that game. Maybe they did. I don't know. I hope that they're not doing it. I mean, that would be a pretty big scandal. People go to prison for a long time for that kind of thing. But now the sports betting in college football is big. Anything is possible. Any sort of corruption can exist. But I don't think the game was rigged. I think they just got their ass whooped. I don't know. Maybe it's a rigging though. Maybe it's a government conspiracy, and Joe Biden put the CIA on it and wanted to harm Black people by giving us false hope by putting out a coach that we thought was actually going to be able to win, and maybe he just came in and killed the game. I don't know. Anyway, but here's the thing. So this is why I'm bringing up the Coach Prime thing. If you recall, I mentioned this, and I was one of the first people to really talk about this, and I'm glad others finally picked up on it. Max Kellerman quoted me on this, and then it started a broader conversation where I was arguing from the very beginning. I said that Coach Prime, who's one of my favorite players, by the way, so I'm saying that for anybody who thinks I'm out here hating on him, I'm not hating on this man. I want him to win. I cheer for him when I watch him play. Coach Prime was underpaid by Colorado. I mentioned that, right? Do y'all remember me talking about this? And of course, I wasn't happy that he left an HBCU, because that's an honest conversation that has to be had about how much wealth gets taken from the Black community. Because I can bet you, as right as rain, as sure as the sun's coming out tomorrow, that anything that you get in your community that has value, anything that you have in your community that has economic value, they're going to come and take it. They've kind of done a Debo from Friday. They've done a Debo on your community, where every time you get $5, they say, no, we got $5. I got $5, right? They kind of come in and take anything that you have that's valuable. It goes back beyond even before Jackie Robinson and slavery and everything else. So if you get another Coach Prime at HBCUs, unless that guy just really, really, truly is willing to make a sacrifice for the Black community in a significant way, they're going to come get him too, right? And so if great athletes, they're going to come get them too. They get the best athletes, right? Most of process this for a minute, how crazy this is. Do y'all understand how deep it is that the Black community has the best athletes on earth, but Black schools have the worst players in college sports? Does anybody think, not to say every HBCU athlete's bad. I'm not saying that at all. There are a lot of talented athletes there. Back in the day in the 60s, a lot of great athletes came out of your HBCU. So I'm not dismissing that at all. But if you took, I don't know, the winner of the SWAC and put them up against Alabama or Georgia, I think we know what that game would look like. I mean, let's just be honest. Somebody might be going to the hospital, right? So I think that's really fascinating because I want you to connect this. Here's the economic lesson behind this, and we'll get back to Coach Prime in a moment. Well, actually, it connects directly to Coach Prime because they pluck your talent, they pluck your resources, right? Think about this: if you go to Nigeria, give me a yes or no. Does Nigeria have any oil? Are there any resources in Nigeria? Yes or no? Yes, the answer is yes. Nigeria has a ton of oil. They have a ton of oil. They have more oil in Nigeria than we have oxygen in the United States, I'm sure, right? So if a country has that much oil, now process this. Now, I think I don't know if they have more oil than Saudi Arabia, but they're probably pretty close. Now, if I go to Saudi Arabia, I'm gonna see a bunch of a little funny looking guys wearing the turbans and stuff, with 18 girlfriends, 47 Mercedes in the garage, making $1 billion deals across the sea. Actually, the highest paid athlete on earth is going to be a brother, Mbappe, who is going to go to Saudi Arabia for $1 billion a year. You heard that right. $1.1 billion a year is what they offered him. If I go to Nigeria, I'm going to see a few rich people. I went to Nigeria, I saw rich people, but I saw just a ton of poverty. So I need you to really process this. This is an understanding of how Black economics works and how you got to be cautious about letting these people debo you out of your money. How is it that you can have countries and communities that have so much wealth and so much money, but so much poverty? Right. And Papillion says, and I know you say get to the point, but see, I need you to understand, Papillion, this is the point. I'm standing on the point. The point is here, and I'm standing on it. I'm stomping on the point. I'm stomping on the 50-yard line right now because I need you to understand that this idea that Coach Prime is at Colorado, instead of at a Black institution, that's the same play they've been running on you for 400 years. That's the same offense that they let you know what the offense is. Hey, okay, we're gonna let you build an asset, then we're gonna come take it. As soon as you build an asset, as soon as you act like you run it into the end zone, we're gonna steal the ball and run it into our end zone, or we're gonna get you to run into the end zone for us so that you'll be scoring points for us. And we'll be scoring points for us. That way, we'll have everything. Dr. Claude Anderson writes about this in Powernomics. He said, white people are wealthy because they live off two incomes. They live off their income and they live off your income. How much of their income are you living off of? This is not anti-white. I'm not out here spewing any kind of hate. This is not hate speech. I got to be careful because I got in trouble on Facebook. Literally, to this day on Facebook, you can't even say the words Boyce Watkins in your post without them erasing your post. Did y'all know that? That's actually a badge of honor. Only Farrakhan's the only other person I know whose name you cannot say on Facebook. Now I guess I'll never be where the minister is, but still, not like literally go to Facebook, type Boyce Watkins in, and you will watch that post disappear. As soon as you hit enter, no one on your timeline will see that post. But I want to make it clear, this is not hate speech. This is not hate speech. This is honesty speech. This is truth speech. And so the reality is that when you talk about Coach Prime going to Colorado, that was $1 billion wealth extraction from the Black community, multi-billion, because he's going to make $1 billion for his family. God bless him. I love him for that. And then he's going to make another $1 billion or $2 billion for Colorado and for other communities. None of that money is going to end up in Black-owned businesses. None of that money is going to end up in your hood. None of that money is going to end up in your schools. None of that money is going to end up in your pocket. None of that money is going to end up benefiting the community. What's going to happen is Coach Prime and his family are going to live up on a hill and live very wealthy, which they should. And there are going to be a bunch of really rich people in Colorado who got rich because they were able to figure out how to sign this guy when they had the same amount of money as you. If you recall, when Coach Prime signed with Colorado, how many of y'all remember this? When they asked the guy, they said, where are you going to get the money to pay him? Do y'all remember what he said? Do y'all remember? He said, we don't have the money. He said, we do not have the money. So this was an investment. This was like like almost like the acquisition of real estate where you or buying a business where you say, I don't have any money, but once I get that asset, I'm gonna make money from the asset and I'll use the money I make to repay the loan. That's pretty much what happened. Deion Sanders was a corporate acquisition. He was not an employee hire. Okay. So anyway, let's get back to it. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboystv.com, the home for intelligent black people. If you enjoy hanging around other B1 people who are black first and intelligent, I hope you'll join us at the All Black National Convention. That's going to be next October 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. That's next week. And that's where we gather once a year and we solve problems. We work together. We meet each other. We connect, things like that. Keisha and Jedediah are having a baby. They actually met at the convention. So there are lots and lots of great people there. So if you want to come out and hang out with us and have fun, give me a hug, shake my hand. I'd love to meet you in person. Just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. There are also virtual passes if you'd like to participate virtually. And also have a new book called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. So feel free to go take a look at that at drboycebooks.com or on Amazon. All right, so let's get back to Coach Prime and what happened there. Hit the thumbs up button. So with Coach Prime and this game against Stanford, what was interesting about this game was, and I was interested in it because I'm just a football fan. I like to watch good games. And this was not a great game in terms of what I saw from Colorado. I was kind of sad to see them sort of blow it like that. It told me they're worse than what I thought they might be. I remember when they barely beat Colorado State in double overtime. And, the son Shador comes off the field like he had just won a Super Bowl. And I'm sitting there thinking, but bro, you just beat Colorado State. My daughters could beat Colorado State. I did, and that's when I kind of wondered what they might be able to really accomplish as a team. I think that this beating by Stanford, what this really does is I think this is going to poke at Colorado and Sanders just a little bit. Let me tell you why. Number one, there's always the question of whether or not, this is truly good football, truly good coaching, or if it's just all hype, right? The reason for Deion Sanders' massive economic value is not his ability to win games. It is not related to the skill of his players. It is not related to the quality of that team. Deion Sanders' ability to generate wealth, and he's generated over $300 million for that school so far. They paid him $5 million. Good deal for Colorado. Deion Sanders' economic value for Colorado is driven by one thing: his ability to get attention. Right. And now, of course, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. To some extent, you could say he's an entertainer. He's entertainment. That's what he is. And that's what sports is. That's what you got to understand about sports. Sports is the business. Sports is a business, and it is the business of entertainment. People will spend more money watching Floyd Mayweather fight against a YouTube influencer than they would pay to watch Floyd Mayweather fight against a legitimate boxer. Right. That's why you notice Mayweather is now taking on fights with people that have no business being in the ring with Mayweather, but he'll do it because he knows that they can sell tickets and get views and get that pay-per-view package popping off like crazy. And next thing you know, he's made another 30, 40, $50 million, right? So to some extent, Deion Sanders might be considered the Floyd Mayweather of college football. That's what he is. He's entertainment at this point. Now, I don't know if that bothers him or not. I think that he's been absolutely brilliant at bringing the power of entertainment into sports. I think that the hiring of Deion Sanders, I think there are plenty of universities that would love to have that revenue generation that Deion drives, but I wonder what that's going to do in terms of affecting his economic value for institutions that he might want to coach at, right? Because what I can see is I can see people saying, hey, we want Coach Prime here because Coach Prime is lit. Coach Prime will draw attention. Coach Prime will bring Lil Wayne in the stands and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with football. But then there might be people that say, yeah, but can he coach football, right? If I'm a booster at a university and I'm helping you come up with $100 million, $200 million, so that's what it's going to cost to hire this guy, my question is going to be, can he win football games? I'm not boosting this campus so that we can have the most lit games and still get beat by 40 points. I'm boosting this campus because I want to win championships. And what is interesting here is at this point, Coach Prime has not proven his ability to win at a high level. Now, what he has done, though, from a coaching standpoint, which is extremely impressive, is he took a team that was on the floor that was absolutely crappy, and he made that team mediocre. Right? He took a horrible team and made them an average team. He took a team that was in the toilet and he put them on the kitchen counter. What he did not do is he did not lift this team up to the status that I think a lot of people felt this school deserved. They were looking at Shador and saying maybe he can win the Heisman. He'll be a #1 draft pick. They were talking about Coach Prime like Colorado could win it all, and they're very, very far from that. And I think that this is interesting because I on two fronts, not just in terms of his economic value as a potential hire at another university, but also just whether or not the novelty's gone. I don't know. I mean, do you give me a yes or no? Do you think that some of the shine has kind of disappeared a little bit in the sense that do you think that Coach Prime's games, give me a yes or no, do you think that they're going to get the same viewership going forward now that they've kind of been exposed, right? Stanford beat you when you're up 29-0. Stanford's 1-4. This is not Alabama. This is not Ohio State. This is not the University of Michigan. This is Stanford. Stanford is a terrible team, right? So now that Stanford has beaten you and kind of embarrassed you, to be honest with you, I'm sure Coach Prime's embarrassed. He would agree with me. And again, he's one of my favorite players, so I'm not hating. I told you I don't have anybody else's jersey on my back wall other than Coach Prime because I admire this guy's ability so much. But now that this has kind of happened, I don't know. I wonder if people are not going to be as interested in watching the games. When people don't watch the games as much, that creates a little bit of volatility in his economic value, right? He's not as much of a sure thing. He may not be able to negotiate the kind of contract that he might have been able to negotiate, say, a couple of weeks ago. And what I remember seeing was there was talk about possibly giving him some sort of massive lifetime deal, something worth $300-400 million to keep him at Stanford, and a deal that was almost like a blank check where if anybody got more money than him, he would automatically get a pay raise. He deserves all of that. If I'm making that sort of a commitment to a guy, I'm going to really think carefully about how consistent that revenue is going to be. If I don't think he's going to be able to draw the crowds that he's drawn and fill up the stadium the way he's filling it up and get the TV ratings the way he's been getting them, I'm going to wonder if this is going to be a good deal or a bad deal. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. My new book is The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And also I have other books, Black American Money, things like that. And also, if you want to, I love stocks. I pick stocks all the time. My dissertation was on stock market, stuff like that. So if you want some help with stock market investing, I'll send you some free stuff from the Black Business School. The Black Business School is a university we built that has educated over 10 million of our people on how to buy their first share of stock. We did this on our own, independent Black-owned institution. We are the ultimate HBCU. We are the world leaders in the study of Black wealth. We are Black wealth surgeons. So if you'd like to see what we got going on, just text the word stock to 31996. Won't cost you a penny, but it will give you a ton of value. $1 million worth of game won't cost you a nickel. Just text the word stock to 31996. We would love to help you. We have therapists, lawyers, professors, doctors, all kinds of people. All we focus on is Black people, Black wealth, and that's very easy for us. All right, so let me look at some of your questions. Let me see here. Let's see. Lewis says, Boyce, this is his first year with a whole new squad. Absolutely. I think that him being there for the first year, let's just give it up for that. The first year, a whole new squad, and he's already able to beat somebody. I think that's impressive because remember, last year they were 1-11. So that is 100% true. Let's see here. Nikki says, I think if he can continue to bring in revenue, they will not care. Well, I don't think Colorado should care because Colorado was terrible before Coach Prime came in. I mean, he's already made them approximately $300 million worth of media coverage and ticket sales and everything else. So he is a good investment so far. He's going to be the investment of the century. And again, this is what I want you to understand. I hope you can hear me. Give me a guess if you can hear this and not go into this whole like he be hating nonsense that I have to deal. I'm a professor. I don't want to go on the internet and have people respond to thoughtful arguments by saying you just be hating, man. You just be hating. Come on, let's be a little smarter. Let's think through things a little. Let's look at the nuances here. Okay, so give me a guess if it's okay if I share this and not have you say he just be hating. If you read books like Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth, is Dr. Claude Anderson's book. And one thing Dr. Claude Anderson says in his books is that the reason that your wealth, I'm not talking about Coach Prime, I'm talking about your wealth is declining as a community is because you consistently engage in what he calls the doctrine of unequal exchange. Now you may ask, what is the doctrine of unequal exchange? Well, the doctrine of unequal exchange is simple. It's where that much. You follow what I'm saying? And what he talks about is it goes all the way back to Africa. He said all the way back to Africa, the Europeans came over and they said, okay, we got a couple of Bibles, um, some old guns, and some dusty jewelry. And in exchange, we'd like some gold and oil and other whatever valuable minerals you have, right? And so the value of what the Africans were giving up was up here, and what the value of what the Europeans gave them was down here. Do you understand? And what he says is that this continues to this day. All around the world, they go into black communities and they extract as much wealth as they can. They find anything that's valuable. This is how capitalism operates. Capitalism is like a religion, and it's a religion that could actually lead to things like nuclear war. I kid you not. Over in Israel, they've actually started talking about using nuclear weapons, which is just not cool at all. I think it's just crazy, right? Because I know a lot of you have mixed feelings about this war. A lot of you don't support this sort of unconditional backing of Israel. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to talk about it too much because that's something that I know is sensitive, right? People have different feelings. I respect it all. However, capitalism is the driver behind all of that. Because most of your politicians, the things that they do, the decisions they make, and including going to war and who to back and where to send the weapons, comes down to money. Money, 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 money. So because we have a country that worships, remember, I'm not speaking as a regular guy. I'm speaking as a finance professor. I've studied capitalism for 30 years. Since I taught my first college class 30 years ago, 1993, I taught at the University of Kentucky. Back then, Coach Prime was my favorite player. The Dallas Cowboys were my favorite team. That was back when they were winning Super Bowls before Jerry Jones tore the team up. So my point is to say to you that this sort of unfettered desire to acquire money and resources leads to a lot of crazy decisions and a lot of what you might also define as racism. In economics, racism might, in one of its many forms, show up by basically being a scenario where one group of people takes the economic power that they have, the economic leverage they have over the black community, their extensive access to resources, their access to capital, their economic knowledge, and their vast wealth, and they use that to control and enslave you. Give me a yes if you follow this. They use that to get what they want from you. They use that to go into your community and they'll find the oil, they'll get the diamonds, they'll get the athletes, they'll get the Coach Primes, they'll grab your son and make him a prison inmate. All of this leads to money. All of this leads to money. All of this leads to profitability. So when Colorado goes into the hood, you think about this. Nobody from Colorado would ever on their own go to Jackson State. They would never on their own go to Mississippi and Jackson where they don't even have clean water. Why would white people who live in heavenly Colorado want to come down to Jackson State and come down to Jackson, Mississippi, where there's crime and no good water and black people, if it wasn't for the money? The same energy that drove them to go to dangerous parts of the earth to explore and look for gold is exactly what drives them to come down to Jackson, Mississippi, to the hood to say, oh my God, there's this black guy down there who's getting a lot of attention. Let's go see if we can acquire that asset. Because we know that if it comes down to a bidding war between us and Jackson State, we're going to tackle that ass. We're going to beat them the way Oregon beat Colorado. It's good. The game will end 52-0 because Jackson State cannot on this planet or any other planet outbid the University of Colorado, nor any other white-owned institution in this country that's in the top 200. They can't bid out any white-owned institution in the top 200 in this country. That's what you're up against, people. That's what you have to deal with. That's what you got to deal with. And here's another thing. This is interesting too. This is gonna really, I think, this should be of interest to those of you that have paid attention to BRICS. Has anybody heard of BRICS? BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. The BRICS coalition. Has anybody been following BRICS and why BRICS exists? I did a whole video about it. You can go to drboystv.com and you can check out that video, or you can search for Dr. Boyce BRICS and you can just scroll through, you can also look at all the videos my haters love to make. They're fans too. They must love me because their videos about me get lots of views, and I don't watch them, but I hope other people do because I want them to make money so they'll stop hating and actually be successful. But anyway, with BRICS, the reason BRICS exists is because the BRICS nations have figured out one important reality. They understand one important key to America's global economic dominance. Because believe me, we have dominance and we use it. Did y'all know that the United States has put sanctions on, I want to say like it was something crazy, like 2/3 of the countries on this planet. Like literally, it's crazy. They constantly sling around their big economic penis and slap it on the table, and their big old financial balls, and knock people over and destroy people's lives. That's why you've got so much chaos right now. That's why you've got to deal with the migrant crisis because of what we've done in Venezuela. That's why you got this whole thing going on in the Middle East because we're using all of our money to give all these weapons to people so they can use them to oppress us. It's kind of it's a mess. It's kind of messy. But here's the thing: the BRICS nations have basically come back with an attack plan that I think actually would work for any community that wants to deal with the white supremacist economic dominance of the United States. What they realize is that the key to U.S. economic power is the fact that they control the currency that is considered to be the default currency that is used throughout the world. The fact that everybody else has to earn their dollars, we can print our dollars. Do you understand the difference? They got to earn the money. We can print the money, right? The United States, I'm not saying we, because I can't print it, but they can print it. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the white boys in Capitol Hill. They can print the money. So here's the thing. So what the BRICS nation said is, oh, okay, I get it now. If I want to compete with you and put myself on equal footing, I need to own something that money cannot buy. I need to have something that I control, that I can print, that you can't have access to unless I allow you. I want to be in a position where I can put sanctions on you the same way you can put sanctions on me. So effectively, how does this translate to the Black community? Well, the way it translates to the Black community, I'm not saying go create an alternative currency. You can look into that if you want to. I know people talk about crypto and all that. What I'm saying is that in order for you to really compete in the economic game and maintain ownership of your coach primes and your top athletes and your top resources in your community so they don't keep coming in and raiding and taking everything you've got, is you have to ask yourself one basic question. Y'all ready? It's one simple question. What can we own as Black people that money cannot buy? What is it that we have in our community that's so sacred where we say we're not selling that? You offer us $10 billion, we ain't letting it go. What do you own? Do you have anything that money cannot buy? Because here's the problem, and I talk about this a lot in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You are raised in a society where you're taught that everything should be for sale. And you were raised in a society where the only language people understand is money, 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 money. And it's not just something that people taught you in school. It's something that's infused in the culture. I want you to go listen to rappers. I'm not talking about all the rappers. Shout out to guys like D1, who's really taking on the culture. One of my buddies. I love this brother. He's like family to me, right? So I don't hate all the rappers. Stop saying that. That's stupid. I don't hate the rappers. I just hate the negative, toxic energy in the culture, okay? I don't like the music that's telling Black boys to go destroy their lives. I want them to live. So I don't hate the rappers. I just hate the nonsense. So if you can't get with me on that, then I don't know how well we can be friends, because you got to see what's going on in your community. Stop that nonsense. So here's the deal. So if you listen to rappers, listen to how often rappers talk about money, 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 money. Right. And then what happens if you don't make dollars, it don't make sense. I'm all about the money. I'm out to get my paper, money over hoes, money over bros, whatever. Right. And so what then happens is that you sort of grow up believing that if somebody has the most money, then that activity or that person should get the most attention. That if a job pays you the most money, you should take that job. You're not thinking, am I going to like this job? How's this job fit with my family? Is this job going to stress me out to the point I'm dead? Do these people on this job even like my Black ass? You're not thinking about none of that. You're thinking, oh, well, they pay me an extra $5,000 a year, so I'm going to go do whatever they say, and I'm going to spend as much time doing it as possible, without thinking about the fact that they've taken away time that you could have been spending with your kids, time you could have been spending on your dreams, time you could have spent investing in your community, time you could have spent just being happy. But instead, we walk right into the lap of misery on a daily basis on these jobs, dealing with people who don't even like us. Why? It's because of the money. It's the money. And so this culture, let's circle back to Coach Prime. I hope you're able to follow me. Give me a yes if you're following what I'm saying here. So circle back to Coach Prime. So what happened when Coach Prime considered the offer to go to Colorado State? Process this. You're at Jackson State. The party's going. Black culture is feeling better than it's felt in years. The people in Jackson have something they don't have in abundance, which is hope. They're feeling happy. They're excited. They're getting attention. People are making money. Businesses are being built. And then guess what? Mr. Charlie knocks on the door and says, hey, boy, how much is it going to cost me to come up in there yonder and buy me some of them niggers you got in there? You're attracting a lot of attention here, boy. So let me, how big of a check I got to write to get access to your niggers. Right? So he coming in, so they come in and they make this offer, $5 million. And it's like, oh, $5 million. Now, honestly, I'm gonna admit I was a little naive. I'm like, $5 million, that's nothing for Coach Prime. Coach Prime's worth $1 billion. This man's got all kinds of money. He played for the Cowboys. He don't need your $5 million because what we got going on here is worth so much more than $5 million. That's what I'm kind of thinking. And I'm also thinking, man, what if we're able to develop these institutions and develop business models around it, and thousands of Black-owned businesses, just like the Negro Leagues, are going to come up because of all the attention that's coming in to this city. Maybe one day they'll even get clean water. That's what I'm thinking. That maybe call me naive. Call me, and I understand if you disagree and you want to fight me, that's okay. I get it. Because all we study in the Black Business School is economic training that Black people get from birth, and I see exactly where it comes from. Because most of us, unfortunately, we're trained to look at a complex decision like that, an intergenerational decision, a decision that would affect the next 100 years of your community, the next 100 years of Jackson State's future laid in the balance on that decision. A lot of us were trained to only make that decision on one simple criteria. Well, how much money they gonna pay him? They gonna pay him $5 million? Well, shoot, Jackson State can't give him $5 million, so he need to go on and go. He need to do what's best for his family. I'm not saying that that's incorrect. I'm gonna say this real clear. I don't have the right to even make that decision because Deion's the king in that process. He's the one who, he's the one that gets to make that choice. I can't make it for him, nor will I ever dislike him for making that choice. I respect the man. Told you, I ain't got nobody else's jersey on my wall except Prime. Nobody else. So I'm not hating. So don't start with the whole you be hating crap. That's stupid. We're 50, or I'm 52. I don't talk like that. But I was just hoping that maybe for a moment, somebody could have seen the bigger picture. I was just hoping that maybe for the first time in Black history, we would actually stand up and just kind of say, what we got going on here, all these hundreds of Black-owned businesses that are going to grow out of this, and this industry that we're developing here, where we got white people chasing us down. We got ESPN chasing us down. We got $1 million, 20, 30, 40, 50 million, $100 million TV deals chasing us down. We're not going to let that go for a measly $5 million a year. That's not enough because we know what you know. We know Dr. Boyce and people that think like me. I'm not the only one, but I knew what they were getting, and they knew what they were getting. The question I would ask anybody who just instantly disagreed or instantly agreed with the decision is, do you know what they were getting? Do you know that they didn't get a $5 million a year employee? Did you know they were acquiring a $1 billion Black-owned asset for pennies on the dollar? Were you aware of that? Or do you not even care? Because if you don't care, see, it's okay if you disagree. I'm not saying you have to agree. But when you just blanketly disagree, or you just say you be hating or something like that, that speaks to a couple things. One, it speaks to, unfortunately, a lot of celebrity worship we have. We tend to think anything a celebrity says or does is okay. And I get that, right? Because they're on TV and stuff. That makes them better than us, apparently. I have no idea. And then also it speaks to exactly why you don't have a lot of businesses in your community, exactly why you don't have a lot of universities that you own, exactly why you don't have a lot of generational wealth. Because one thing that anybody who understands generational wealth learns is that generational wealth requires some type of sacrifice. Generational wealth requires some ability to not just think about your next paycheck. Generational wealth requires you to have some ability to not just think about next week, next month, or next year. Generational wealth required you at some point to say, I wonder what this could be if we hold on to this asset for a whole generation. And I brought this up before. I've talked to you guys about the founders of the NFL. The NFL teams, if you add up all their economic value, it's going to be well over $100 billion. Well, at some point, there were people who founded the NFL with these junky little teams. They nicknamed the stupid things like the Chicago Bears or dumbass names like the Green Bay Packers, and they couldn't give those franchises away. They were selling them for about $50, maybe $100, $500 once they really got to moving. Right, $1,000 would make you crazy to pay. I mean, why would you pay $1,000 for the Chicago Bears? That's a $50 franchise. Well, in less than a couple of generations later, the Chicago Bears are worth several $billions. Black people can't even get ownership of an NFL team. You're not even allowed to take ownership in that team. And I bet you that once they got rolling, once they got a little momentum, once they started getting a little attention like Coach Prime did, right? Follow me now, follow me. Once they started getting like a little bit of, like maybe they got on TV or on the radio for the first time, it was, whatever. There was probably somebody came along and said, "Hey, boy, let me write the check for your little sports league you got there. I'll write you a check for $100,000." Right? And somebody could have said, "Ooh, that's a lot of money. We should take that, man. And where else are we gonna get $100,000 for this crappy little football league? They want to buy the Bears and the Packers and the New England Patriots and all that. They'll sure, let's give them the whole thing for $100,000." And there was somebody in the room. There was somebody in the room. There was somebody in the room who was as smart as Ice Cube was when Jerry Heller tried to buy NWA. There was somebody in the room at the NFL when they got those first little deals for 100,000, maybe a whole million, who said, "You know what? We got something here that money can't buy. We got something here. We want to watch this baby grow. I don't want to sell the baby when it's a 5-year-old. I want to see what this baby looks like when it's a full-grown man." And I know that you think I know that makes me crazy for passing up a whole $1 million right now, because I know none of these NFL teams is worth even $20,000. But I'm gonna go ahead and wait and just sort of see what might happen in case this grows into something big. Mark Zuckerberg did the same with Facebook. He was getting offers for $1 million, $10 million. Then he got $1 billion offer. Everybody told him he was crazy to pass it up. Well, now Zuckerberg is worth more money than the entire Black community all put together. I believe, I'm not sure, but I got to double check. But I believe that his net worth exceeds the entire net worth of every Black person in this country put together. I got to double check that. Don't quote me on that. But I do believe if you put the net worth of every single Black person in America up against the net worth of one little kid who built a business called Facebook in his dorm. A lot of y'all are probably on Facebook or Instagram today. I bet you his net worth competes with the entire net worth of the whole Black community. But that never would have occurred if he had done exactly what you did when you had Coach Prime at an HBCU. That mindset is not a wealth building mindset, people. I hate to say it to you. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I know I got enough people to get mad at me online for what I say, but I got to keep saying it because God told me to say it. I can't, he don't let me not tell the truth. I got to keep telling you the financial truth. The financial reality is that you can never have generational wealth. You can never have strong institutions. You can never have true economic power in a capitalist society unless you are prepared to sacrifice. So I ask you again that basic question. What do you own that you would not sell if Mr. Charlie came to the door and wrote you a big enough check? That's all I got to ask today. But again, I want to make it clear as we shut down that this is not anti-Coach Prime. So let's stop that nonsense. I am a big fan of Coach Prime. I cheer for him every time I see him play. I want him to win, and I want his family to do well. But also remember, he's not the only person I think about. I think about all of y'all. I'm thinking about your family. I'm thinking about your businesses. I'm thinking about your empires. That honestly is quite honestly more important to me than Coach Prime. I think him, Shador, and Shiloh are going to be all right. My question is, are all of y'all going to be all right? Are all of us going to be all right? And I think that's a whole bigger equation that requires a different perspective. All right. And I hope that can be heard without you thinking that our disagreeing means we can't be friends. All right. Give me a yes if you got what I'm saying. Give me a yes if that makes sense to you. All right. So I'm going to bounce out, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. Also, just a reminder next week, if you are B1 and you're into these sorts of conversations, every year the Black Business School sponsors the All Black National Convention. That is the leading Black think tank on this planet, where you have more Black experts than anywhere on the planet coming together specifically and solely to solve problems in the Black community without being sponsored by corporations, without being sponsored by the Democrat or Republican parties, without being beholden to anybody. And this is a very effective event. Everybody that comes loves it. It is built for if you're single, if you're in a family, if you're a child, if you're an adult. We work with everybody. We love it. It's amazing. You're going to have a great time. I promise you. And you're just going to have fun and you're going to meet good people. But on top of that, you're going to learn a lot. You will learn things at the All Black National Convention that you never learned in college. And I guarantee that. So if you want to join us in Atlanta, October 20th, which is next week, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com, or you can actually get a virtual pass. Don't try to buy a ticket at the door because we probably won't have any tickets at the door. We were pretty close to being sold out a couple of months ago. I think there are a few tickets left that you can buy virtually, but we won't have any tickets at the door. So don't try to buy at the door. Buy online. It's not only cheaper, but also, again, it'll get you in. Okay. So anyway, allblacknationalconvention.com is where you can go. Also, if you want to get profit alerts sent to you or any free content from the Black Business School, we have the $5 a day investing plan that we're trying to get everybody to pay attention to. A simple way you can transform your generational wealth without going to college, without any training, without much of anything. Literally, at whatever income level you want, we will get your wealth level up. It literally only takes a decade, but it's not a fast money plan. It's a slow money plan, but it's a plan that works because it's based on science. I'm a financial scientist. That's what I do for a living. So if you'd like to get that for free, just text the word stock to 31996. I'll also send you a list of AI stocks that I love. You got to get invested in AI. You do not want to be left behind. AI is here. It's here to stay. It's going to be taken over. It's going to be a trip when this thing really takes off. AI is in the beginning, y'all. Don't think AI is going away or the AI is going to go. It's going to shrink. It's actually going to grow. It's really at the beginning. And also there's some other things that we send you as well. So anyway, guys, take care. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And once again, Coach Prime, I hope he wins. I like the guy, and he's one of my favorites out here. And but I'm going to tell you that loss to Stanford really had me thinking on the treadmill. I said, woo, buddy, there's going to be a lot of interesting things that happen this year. So I'll keep you guys posted. So God bless you. You can follow the podcast on Spotify or Apple. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hit that thumbs up button, share, notify, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who